So over the past month or so, I've been making videos about why I don't think Jesus was a historical person. And a question that comes up over and over again is, what about the non-Christian sources for the life of Jesus? And specifically, what about the writings of Josephus? Josephus wrote the Antiquities of the Jews in 94 CE. The Antiquities is probably best known for the inclusion of the Testimonium Flavianum, which is like a Cliff Notes version of the story of Jesus' life and death. I'm going to read the passage to you, and I want you to keep in mind while I read it that Josephus was a devout Jew for his entire life. Are you ready? About this time there lived Jesus, a wise man, if indeed one ought to call him a man, for he was one who performed surprising deeds and was a teacher of such people as accept the truth gladly. He won over many Jews and many of the Greeks. He was the Christ. And when upon the accusation of the principal men among us, Pilate had condemned him to a cross, those who had first come to love him did not cease. He appeared to them, spending a third day restored to life. For the prophets of God had foretold these things and 1,000 other marvels about him. And the tribe of the Christians, so called after him, has still to this day not disappeared. Does this sound like something a devout Jew would say about Jesus? The earliest attestation we have for the testimonium comes from Eusebius, writing in the 4th century CE. Interestingly, 100 years earlier, Origen, who was extremely familiar with the works of Josephus, makes a point of telling us specifically that Josephus did not believe that Jesus was the Messiah. So if Origen read the Antiquities of the Jews and it contained the passage I just read to you, how on earth could he possibly have gleaned from that that Josephus was not a Christian? Because, spoiler, the passage I read to you was written, at least in part, by a Christian. Our earliest existing manuscript for the Antiquities comes from the 11th century CE, 1,000 years after Josephus wrote his book. If you have the capacity for critical thought, it should be very clear to you that that passage was either inserted by or tampered with by later Christian scribes, potentially, according to some scholars, by Eusebius himself. And since many Christians consider the Testimonium Flavianum to be the most important attestation of Jesus' existence by a non-Christian, if that turns out to be fake, what chance does Jesus have?